my loves, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. Hi, hello, my name is Loey, and today I have a really freaky paranormal story for you guys. I've wanted to tell this one for a while. It's one of my earliest childhood paranormal stories I can really remember every detail of. It wasn't like my first ever time seeing a ghost or anything, but it's one of the first times that I have a very, very, very vivid memory of it. This is from the Halloween when I was either 7 or 8 years old, and I saw something I cannot explain. And it's one of my craziest stories yet. You guys don't want to miss this one. But really quickly, before we get into the video, I just want to say that this video is a collab with one of my best friends in the world. His name is Andrew, and his channel is Andrew TMI. You guys have probably seen our videos together if you are subscribed to me. We are like paranormal magnets when we're together, and the weirdest stuff always happens to us. So we were FaceTiming, and I was just like, have you had any more creepy stuff happen to you? And he's like, no, but have you ever heard this story about how we found my grandfather in one of our Polaroids? It doesn't end there. There's a psychic. There's so much paranormal stuff around this photo. So I'm gonna link this video down below, the one that Andrew is posting. Please go over, you guys. Support one of my best friends in the entire world. You will absolutely freaking love him. And that story scares the crap out of me so hard that I'm in here alone with just you guys and my ring light, and I'm a little spooked. Not even because of my own story, just because I'm talking about Andrew's. But anyways, without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this video. This is from, I think, the first or maybe the second Halloween that I was in this neighborhood that I mentioned in actually my Halloween special from last year, where I went on this hayride thing and saw a scarecrow like decoration thing in someone's yard move. This neighborhood was huge on Halloween. The town that I was in was very old Georgia. There was so much going on. There were like haunted houses to go visit. There was trick-or-treating everywhere. You could go downtown and go trick-or-treat at the local businesses. So this year in particular, I just remember we didn't go trick-or-treating around our neighborhood. My mom took us with our little costumes and our trick-or-treat buckets, and we went up and down the kind of main street of our town at the time, just getting candies from different shop owners. And where I grew up, there is actually an old jail called the Old Gaol. And I hope I'm pronouncing that word right. But there's this really old jail that we used to see all the time, and it's kind of just off of like the main street where we were doing all of our shopping. And a lot of the kids were walking down to this jail, so my mom stops one of the parents and she's like, is there like a really good spot over there for trick-or-treating? Is there like a haunted house? And she was saying, no, they're actually giving Halloween tours of the old jail. This place just looks haunted when you see it, and I have pictures, which makes me so happy that I can share this kind of like piece of my hometown with you guys. But anyways, so the Old Gaol, they had opened it up for Halloween tours, and you didn't have to pay anything on this day to get in. It was basically like someone just sort of led you through, because it's a very old building. It was actually built way back in the day, back in the 1800s, and it was almost used until 1900 when the new jail was built. It was a very small building, and I can't find photos of the jail cells, but I do know that there was only 2 or 3. It was a lot smaller than any jail you'd see today. So my mom, we've gotten our candy, it's getting a little late. She tells my brother and I, do you want to go see this like crazy haunted jail, this super creepy place? My brother starts screaming and crying, because of course he doesn't. And I'm like, yeah. Because even back then, I loved paranormal things. Even back then, spooks were my MO, and I loved exploring, and I was just that kid where I was just interested in everything. And I was really interested in the history of this place. And so we go, and it's just super duper freaking creepy from the outside. It's just this huge brick building, and we walk inside and our tour begins. And we're with like a group of, I would say, about 10-ish other people. This place isn't swarmed. There's not like lineups. I think they're just kind of casually doing walkthroughs as people come through. We walk in, and the tour guide is just telling us the history of the place, how it was built way back in the 1800s, what it was built for, you know, so on and so forth, how the county needed a jail, blah. And suddenly I hear a dog just bark, and it's like this big, like vicious bark. And I jump and I look over, and there's like this scruffy old dog in the corner. And the tour guide didn't even react to it. He's just continuing to talk about the history of the place, blah, blah, blah. And I jump, and a girl next to me jumps too, and we both look at the dog, and then we look at each other, and we're looking around the group, and nobody else sees the dog. Nobody else is paying it any mind. No one else is looking over there. Eventually, some kids are like looking at us and looking over there, like trying to figure out what we're looking at, but nobody pays the dog any attention. And it's just barking like crazy, this old scruffy looking dog. You know how, I guess a German Shepherd or something would bark, you know, those big like guttural, or like a pit bull bark, like those big, scary barks. That's how this dog was barking. And I wasn't scared of dogs or anything, obviously. I thought it was really weird that no one was reacting, but I didn't say anything. I just stood next to my mom and I listened to the man talk. And then eventually it was actually our time to go up the stairs and go look at the jail cells where the people were actually held, the prisoners. And up there, they actually had the trap door where people were hung. So up there, he's talking about how people were hung back in the day. There's still literally a rope hanging there. You can see it. They still have the rope there where people were hung. There's like a little trap door, obviously. And back then, people were hung. That was the method of execution. And fortunately, today, we don't do that. But even so, he's talking about it. He's talking about it. He's talking about it. And we come back down the stairs, and I see a man hanging from the rope. And I scream and I grab my mom, because it's like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And like, why in the world would they pull a prank like that on a bunch of literally like 7, 8, 9-year-olds? And I scream and I grab my mom and I'm like hiding my face in her. My mom's like, oh, did the tour scare you, honey? Like, I'm sorry. And I was like, Mom, that man is hanging right there. That's way too scary. And in my head, I thought it was like a Halloween prop. And my mom looks over at the rope and she looks back at me. And when I tell you I saw a man hanging, like I saw the rope moving, like there was a man hanging there. My mom tells me that I have a crazy imagination, and she starts to walk out with my little brother. And I think she was assuming I would follow her, but I'm just standing there staring at this man hanging from the rope, literally hanging from the noose that they left hanging down. I saw somebody hanging there. I never saw that girl again who also saw the dog with me, so I don't know if she saw it too. But I think that the craziest and the creepiest thing about this story is people were just like walking past him. No one was walking through him because no one was walking close to the rope, but people were just walking around him. No one was looking at him. And I just saw this man hanging there. And he never disappeared. It wasn't like I looked, he was hanging, I looked away, I looked back, he was gone. He was just hanging there. I mean, I looked over my shoulder and he was still just hanging there. And for a long time, I always was like, maybe I dreamed that, or maybe it really was a Halloween prop, and like my little brother didn't react to it. My little brother would have been terrified. Like, it was scary, scary stuff. But I saw a man hanging from the rope. And now I look back, and that's one of my craziest paranormal experiences ever, because whatever it was, it never went away. He just hung there. And when I looked back over my shoulder, he was just hanging there. And so I'm planning on going back home to Georgia pretty soon here, and I'm almost wondering if I contact somebody from the county that I used to live in, if maybe they would let me go into that jail cell or go into the jailhouse in general, the old gal, and maybe do some research, because I just think that would be the coolest thing in the entire world. That was a really vivid paranormal experience for me, because it wasn't like things moving. It was like I saw somebody and they were just there, as solid as you and I are. It was one of the scariest experiences of my entire life. It definitely scarred me for freaking life, man. And a little while later, I had a dream about the hanging man. But if you guys want to hear that story, that's definitely one for a different video. It's pretty creepy. Just let me know down below if you want to hear that story as well, my dream about the hanging man. But I just wanted to tell you guys about one of my earliest and one of my creepiest paranormal experiences ever. And now we're gonna kind of look at some photos from the jailhouse. So right here is the outside of the jailhouse. As you can see, it's really old and decrepit and creepy. It's not like falling apart or anything. They've actually kept it in great condition. It has a very, very stable foundation. But you can just look at this place and know it's haunted. And actually, when I was researching, one of the top things that I found was just a random person on their Blogspot account was like, is this place haunted? Because every time I go there, I'm just like, this looks creepy, but it is definitely haunted. And so when you go in, it's just kind of like this open space, and then these are actually the steps going up. So you can see they kind of like wind upwards. So we were walking in that in the dark. It was really creepy. And then here is the door with the noose that is still hung there to this day. And that there are like little pieces of dust just flying around my camera. I don't know why. Do you guys see that? What is that? I don't know where those are coming from. That noose is still hung there to this day. And that's where I saw the man hanging, was at the end of that rope. It's really creepy stuff, and it's even creepier that I have photos to look back on this place I haven't been to since I was like 8 years old. And I actually was under the assumption they no longer did tours because no one ever talked about it again. But apparently I was looking online and they still do tours of the place on like a daily basis. So I'll have to go back, see if I can catch anything on footage. But this was one of my first ever paranormal stories. So don't forget to give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I love you all so very much. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to go and check out Andrew's video right now. You will love it. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.